to the sky, everybody. Overhead, your United States Army parachute team, the Golden Knights. First jumper is away. And under canopy, from Glen Burnie, Maryland, is Staff Sergeant Kevin Pressgraves. He's got 1,300 jumps to his credit. From 5,000 feet above the ground, that's a mile high. He's going to maneuver this parachute to the center of the target that's on the ground in front of us. With the ground control soldiers, Sergeant George Perez and Staff Sergeant Shelby Bixler stand ready. Kevin is flying the POW-MIA flag. As he spirals down, he can reach speeds of nearly 60 miles per hour. The music you're hearing is the Army Strong theme. And that's what you can be. Kevin steers his parachute much the same way as the Wright brothers steered their original airplane back in 1903 with a technique called wing warping. He changes the shape of that ram air canopy in order to steer himself into position so he can land right on the target. As I mentioned earlier, that target, that orange and black X that he can see from there, has about an 18-inch circle in it in the middle and a small black dot about 3 inches in diameter. Okay, Andrews, make some noise. He can hear you. Let's get him in on target. Come on, Kevin, let's do it. Make some noise, Andrews.
As the aircraft gracefully crosses overhead, the jump master gives a cross-arm signal of hot target, signifying that the airspace is clear and that it is safe to jump. Jumpers complete their final gear checks and move to the doors in the rear of the aircraft. Ladies and gentlemen, the jumpers are out. The first 3 jumpers are flying different parachutes than the first one you saw me fly in. They are not going to fly any smoke, because the smoke could possibly burn their much smaller lines and cause a malfunction. These are much smaller parachutes, much faster and more agile than the one you saw me come in on. Think of my parachute as a Cadillac. Big, slow, very docile. These parachutes are more like a motorcycle. Small, fast, and agile. They will come in a lot faster and a lot quicker than I did. Right now, the jumpers are paying close attention to the wind direction and speed to set up their very precise point where they're going to come in, swoop across the concrete into the grass. Ladies and gentlemen, at that altitude, these jumpers can hear you, so let's give them a big round of applause.
Kevin, I know the big parachutes go about 22 miles an hour. How fast can these guys go?
These parachutes on a no-wind day can get upwards of 70 miles an hour ground speed.
Whoa!
That is just seconds before they touch down. Here comes the first jumper, ladies and gentlemen.
You're just like,
That's awesome!
Here comes the next jumper. Let's give a round of applause for the first three jumpers, ladies and gentlemen.
Kevin, that looks like a smaller parachute than you used.
Yes, my parachute, Rob, is about 265 square feet. The parachutes you saw come in are anywhere from 107 square feet to anywhere down to a 96 square foot canopy.
So the smaller the canopy, the faster the forward speed.
The smaller the canopy, the bigger the person under that parachute, wing loading it real heavy, the faster that parachute will travel.
Big parachute, station wagon. Or SUV. Little parachute, Ferrari.
Ferrari, motorcycle, whatever suits your boat or speed, Rob. Once again, as the aircraft gracefully crosses overhead, the jump master yet again gives a cross-arm signal of hot target, signifying that the airspace is still clear and that it is still safe to jump. The rest of the jumpers are completing their final gear checks and moving to the doors in the rear of the aircraft. A thumbs up signal is given. Watch momentarily for jumpers to simultaneously exit both doors of our aircraft. The jumpers are out, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, these jumpers are going to perform a facet of the sport known as canopy relative work. It may appear as if they have become entangled, but that is not the case. Due to the aerodynamic design of these Ram Air parachutes, it is possible to fly your parachute right into the hands of another jumper without adversely affecting its flight characteristics. The formation you now see is called the biplane. The top jumper is the navigator of this formation, piloting it, paying attention to the winds while listening to the bottom jumper, who calls up the altitudes, making sure that he is aware of where they're at and what altitudes they're at so they can safely make it back to the drop zone. If any of you are wondering how to become a Golden Knight, every year the Golden Knights hold the Golden Knight Assessment and Selection Program September through October. Applicants must have at least 100 jumps, have a clean civilian and military record, and apply prior to July 31st of the year they would like to attend. During tryouts, these jumper skills are tested. Their canopy piloting skills, their free fall skills, and the biggest one we're looking for most of all is the ability to be a good teammate. We're on the road 265 plus days out of the year, traveling, jumping into air shows, baseball games, football games, so it takes a good deal of teamwork to stay together for that long throughout the year. The Golden Knights have some of the best canopy pilots in the world. So if they're not too good when they come to tryouts, we can get them up to speed where they need to be. The smaller parachute you see flying around these formations is the cameraman. He's manipulating that canopy to the best of his ability to be able to catch video and pictures of the formation.
Kevin, I got a question for you. These guys, where do they learn to do this canopy, this crew, this canopy relative work? They do that, is that winter training stuff?
Yes, Rob, that is down in during our entire winter training cycle down in Homestead, Florida. So those of you not familiar with Homestead, it's just south of Miami. We go down there through January and February to train up for the upcoming show season. While we're down there, we train Monday through Friday, sun up to sundown, doing anywhere from 6 to 10 jumps a day. As a new guy on the team, you do those 6 to 10 jumps on a day. When you get on the ground, you pack your parachute as fast as you can and run over to the microphone and practice your narration. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause for the down plane. When in that formation you just saw, they pick up speeds up to 60 miles per hour. Let's give the jumpers a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Watch very closely for the minor corrections in obtaining a target area landing. Let's give a round of applause for the Maryland flag, ladies and gentlemen. You may notice the tail of the parachute curl under. This allows the jumper to slow his forward speed while reducing his rate of descent to ensure the safest and softest possible landing. Give a round of applause for all the Golden Knights here today, ladies and gentlemen. Performing the technical duties of aerial photography all the way from Fort Worth, Texas, he is an airborne cavalry scout with 1,645 free fall parachute jumps. Staff Sergeant Chris Acevedo. Yes. And now for your jumpers. All the way from Vero Beach, Florida, he is a parachute maintenance technician with 756 free fall parachute jumps. Sergeant Tom Prida. From Orlando, Florida, he is a parachute maintenance technician with 1,050 free fall parachute jumps. Sergeant Jesse Stoller. From Pinole, California, he is an airborne ranger with 3,100 free fall parachute jumps. Sergeant First Class Aaron Beagle. All the way from Vancouver, Washington, he is an airborne commo specialist with 455 free fall parachute jumps. Staff Sergeant Brian Karst. All the way from Sarasota, Florida, he is a parachute maintenance technician with 1,450 free fall parachute jumps. Staff Sergeant Tom Melton. And leading the Golden Knights in free fall, all the way from Canby, Oregon, he is an airborne cavalry scout with over 2,800 free fall parachute jumps. Sergeant First Class Dustin Peregrine. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to present to you the gold demonstration team for the 2012 Air Show season. All members of your United States Army Parachute Team, the Golden Knights. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our performances for this weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I would like to thank each and every one of you for being such a warm and receptive airborne audience. In closing, I leave you with this final thought. In the future, may all your days be prosperous and your nights